Hello everyone and welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade Independence. Tonight we join a smaller crew of individuals as they venture back out into the town of Independence once more, where they would no doubt find that the curiosity shop that Lucas had such a nice time with before was open once more late into the night. And now we join our players as they approach said shop.
Well, Lucas would probably arrive there first, looking at his phone, seeing where Chell is. He probably would have invited her along. He tried to get Mitch, but he didn't want to go. But he got Chell interested, and he's sitting outside the shop, waiting for Chell to arrive.
Lucas might notice that there was a rather large, bushy ginger cat sat in the window watching him.
And Lucas would kind of turn, kind of wave to the cat.
Okay, okay. Um, from the northern street, there comes the familiar click, 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 click of a baseball card within the spokes of a bicycle. Well, as is becoming somewhat of a rhythmic theme these days. I hear that it's making a comeback. Bicycling and stuff like that. As what appears to be a man, and people are quickly becoming associated with the name Tyler, a kid of baggers. He is carrying this time a backpack, as it were. Hmm. And he also is the destination of the curious shop, because it has many curious things and many curious people.
Upon seeing Tyler, Lucas will give a wave and ask him how he's doing, or how he's been.
I am doing just fine, he says. I'm skinning the thing down to stop. Goes to his backpack, pulls out his backpack. Um, Real quick, you're with the Rose, right?
Yeah. Wait.
Okay, 1 second.
Yes,
He
I'm
says,
I'm a rose.
rifling through his backpack, and he brings out two identical sets of what appears to be sunglasses, and he tosses one over to you. Complete
Oh.
lack of the eye.
Um, Lucas will react a little surprised, maybe fumbling the glasses a little bit before catching them, and he'll look at them for a second, like, thank you.
I wear my sunglasses at
And then it
night.
takes
Don't beat on the guy with the shades. Oh
and it
yeah.
takes him he looks at the glasses for a second, and then realizes, oh, he puts them on and thank you, realizing.
You're
Probably hear the
welcome.
probably hear the familiar sound of a van coming up along the road, and from the window you might even hear the song "I shot the sheriff, but I
But I
didn't
did
shoot
not
no
shoot the
deputy."
deputy.
Do do do, and you'll just hear that coming out the window, and the van slowly pulls up beside the shop.
I said kill it before it grows.
And the van's engine cuts off, and the music dies off with it. Next thing you know, you see Hell climbing out at the door. Tyler, do you notice anything different?
Nope,
Oh,
says the man who is now blind to the world.
oh my god. Chell's gonna get out of the van, lock it up, and she'll see the two familiar vampires and walk up to them. So, might I ask why I was invited to this shop, all things? I remember Crimson referring to it coldly, rather, as his competition.
Well, let's just say it's a very curious shop.
Define curious. Nowadays, that means
you'll
things
see.
like... Jesus,
Well,
man.
you'll see.
I'll see. For once I will.
By the way, how dark are these sunglasses?
I intended them to be pitch black. It's as if you're wearing a blindfold.
Oh, okay. And Lucas will kind of turn like, so where are you?
May I ask about the glasses? It's rather silly looking that you're wearing them at this time of night.
In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man, or I guess in this case, the one-eyed woman is king.
Chill's gonna temporarily raise up his glasses. Two-eyed.
Oh, so there are two there are two cyclists about. Fantastic.
And then she's gonna put the glasses back on. Whatever thing you guys are up to, I don't know, but...
I don't know. Well,
So I'm
you'll
leading you
see
both
when we
in.
get in there. We'll conga line in.
Yeah. Trust us. When you see it, you will be surprised.
Alright, she's gonna put a hand on both their shoulders and start leading them to the door.
Also, Lucas, be careful for the stump.
I know.
What's that? Oh. And she's gonna look down and see it. Oh, that's a rather nasty step.
And now I kind of tripped over it the other night.
Sounds so majestic. And silently, Chell's thinking Luconius would not be proud. And she'll open the door and she'll shuffle them through it. Not really sure she can fit all three of them in at once.
We'll just conga line behind you.
Upon opening the door, there would be a soft jingle of a store bell ringing as the door brushed past a bell now hung above the door. It seems as though, in the tripping incident, there had been a slight change to the mechanics of the door. Within the shop, there was the standard masses of knickknacks, clocks, various paintings, portraits, photographs, various bits and pieces from varying eras, areas, and all that lovely stuff. Through the shop, Shell at least would see a rather tall, yet not quite as tall as Shell, slender woman in baggy earth-coloured clothes. She was just leant forwards against the counter, smiling softly at them as they fumbled their way through the door. Shell would notice that there was something not quite human about her. Everything seemed to be incredibly intense about the way she looked, as though she was actively trying to capture people's eyes without seeming to do anything about it. And she smiled and she just said, "You know, it's frightfully rude to talk about someone outside their own shop."
She's gonna look over to the other two. I'm sorry, my lady, but I haven't met your acquaintance, but these two...
Lucas will just smile in the wrong direction.
She pulls him right in the right direction. You imbecile.
Ah, Lucas, Fallen Step. I remember you, most definitely. And Mr. Tyler. I assume you brought the stories for me?
I come bearing gifts, he says, sort of putting his hand out.
Chell leads them both forward.
Thank you. I
I
One thing I would have to ask
the
though: are you of Greek patronage?
Greek patronage.
Sure, you know the phrase
Oh,
"Beware of Greeks bearing gifts."
exactly. Unfortunately, you are not. You know, I guess you are Helen. Well, how apt, actually. He says, reaching behind his backpack, flipping over. Blinded, of course. Zip, 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 zip. Okay. When we first beheld Antibasis. His first written by Xun Fuda. And what is before you is a plain book. Very much look like a record book, or at least some very academically found heritage. First book. First iteration. 1,000 soldiers. Now, he comes in, brings out what looks to be more like a paperback book. Probably about 200 pages or so. Oh, sorry, I didn't actually look it up. Story of about 6 guys who's lost on the wrong side of town. My soul Yolk. Very good read. Very impressive. Can be pretty dark sometimes, but it's still worth it. And then brings out what looks to be a old-fashioned VHS tape. I don't suppose you have an antique like that could play one of these, do you?
Why, of course I do.
Fantastic.
She smiled and gave a slight curtsy to Tyler as he handed over the items. Thank you very much, good sir. Now, please do tell me, what do I owe you for these things?
A peck on the neck.
I fear I do not have any birds within the store.
Lucas will chuckle.
Okay, well, I guess in the place of bird, I guess your sultry lips shall do just fine.
Very well then, and she would lean across to peck a small kiss upon Tyler's cheek. I must say, I was incredibly tempted to look up these stories online, but you know what they say, if you give in to temptation, it's a very slippery slope to somewhere dark.
Anticipation makes the event so much sweeter.
Doesn't it just? And speaking of anticipation, I highly anticipate meeting your other friend here. And she looks at Chell.
Oops, sorry, milady. Well, I am Chelsea Simon. I'm afraid I haven't met your acquaintance.
Myself, and she raises her hands up above her head in a rather theatrical pose. I am Kaylee Fletcher, owner of this fine curiosity and confectionery shop. And she places rather large emphasis on pronouncing the C in shop.
Confectionery. And she's gonna start looking around. Oh, I see why Crimson spoke of this place. Looks rather impressive.
Ah, Crimson, the man whose shades appear to have multiplied and found their ways onto several other faces.
What can I say? He makes a very nice product.
That he does.
But too effective. And she'll roll her eyes at this. I digress. They insist on wearing them.
Well,
They
why
insist
ever
that it was the best way to look.
Ah, the fashion statement.
Fashion. Suppose that's the modern pursuit right now?
Which has always been the pursuit, as far back as time.
Peacocking. Or at least that's a modern term for it. Or maybe that was always the term for it. Showing off, showing social status of someone else, or demonstrating thereof in wealth.
Appearing
Well,
more than you are.
I would severely doubt that it predates the arrival of the Indian peacock to Europe, but it's certainly a theory.
I would say the term doesn't predate it, but the act of it probably does. It just probably wasn't a term back then.
Indeed, it was not. I mean, for one thing, how does a Roman show their spectacular wealth? Why, by building great public works, or perhaps conquering a new province in the case of several Caesars.
Ah, much as it is display of wealth, as much as it is display of power. Being able to be labeled a conquering general coming back into Rome is certainly not not that black hat or a spit in the eye, but certainly a white feather, if you will.
Souped him up a bit more.
But not necessarily for those conquered peoples. For example, Britannia did not succumb to Roman rule until they had left.
Oh, don't get me started about on the Britain Isles. You know when the first Romans laid eyes upon, or at least set on four of the Irish Isle, there was this whole hootenanny of giant trees being thrown at them, and while women screamed at their men that they were horrible people and had tiny penises.
Jell's gonna blink and look over at him.
Yes, that certainly sounds like Britannia.
See, she knows.
And she's just
And yet I was referring more to the Iceni rebellions, although it does remind me of stories I've heard passed down through Roman legionaries when they first set their eyes upon the islands. There were terrific tales of sea monsters and gigantic creatures living beneath the waves and within the cliffs of Britannia that were just waiting to swallow up a ship whole. Most intriguing stories, I must admit.
You got me on this one.
Was it the Odyssey or the Iliad that had the monster that sucked in water and spat it back out, sucking up any ships that were nearby?
One and the same, if you read any certain accounts. But alas, I have moved off from the Roman topic. When the Emperor, I forget which one it was, the one after poor Julius, the whole Gaius Julius thing was resolved. Terrible mess. Anyway, he decided that he wanted to cement his power, as it were, and what better way to do that to the nobles than by conquering new lands and bringing in great new resources and slaves to the empire. And so he set his eyes upon the islands of Britannia, where Gaius Julius had unfortunately failed to make an invasion attempt some 30, 40 years before. But alas, the legions that he wished to take over there were, as you can tell by the era that they were in, incredibly superstitious and feared that should they set their sails to the channel, then they would be swallowed whole by vast sea monsters that lived beneath the waves. It was a centurion, I believe. I forget his name at the moment, but he was most excellent with words. Challenged the Romans that, be they fearful of these monsters, then perhaps they'd not be true Romans after all, and that true Romans would face their fears and defeat them, and so Britannia was conquered.
Dagon, sirens, mermaids, earths without the coast. And Cthulhu, if you believe the modern stories.
Well, I mean, sea monsters have always lurked at the edges of the maps.
The Leviathan.
Extraterrestrials nowadays, where there are edges of the maps in the stars, even.
Perhaps the real monster is the boundary. Perhaps every time we push the boundary back every time we map something new, the monsters just find a new little place just beyond it. Thus we keep pushing them back and back and back. Well, it makes you wonder if they ever will come back, or if we're just deluding ourselves and believing that we truly have any kind of control over our spatial awareness.
So where they go beyond space then? Push them
Into the
further and
shadows.
further out.
Why, if you shine a light on something, does it not cast a shadow? Certain as it is, the further we shine our light out into the universe, the more shadow there is to explore. As the more powerful the light becomes, the darker the shadow, and the more sinister the things that hide within it.
Hmm. So perhaps you were saying that even with our enlightened philosophy, and again we're going to use your term of the light, like the monsters simply represent our still yet unknown. Much as it is in scientific research, the more we know, the less we actually think we actually do know. The more questions we answer, the more we find answers, the more questions just pop up. Like the
Indeed. And perhaps the more we find our answers, the more we find out that the true monsters perhaps may live inside of us.
nice little grin.
Actually, upon you saying that, Lucas's kind of mood kind of changes just for a slight second. Like, just that turn he just kind of gets to him and kind of frowns for a moment, but then he shakes it off.
Lucas has a cat sat in front of him now, just looking up at him for a moment. Before it
Apparently,
stands up, walks around him, and then leaps up onto the counter.
She at least frowned a little bit at it, but she's gonna give a bit of a sigh.
Do any of you have the, I know there's a merit that does it, but it's like the animal tolerance one?
I'm sorry, you just turned into a robot there.
There's a merit, I don't know what it's called at the moment, but it's like, it means that animals don't react badly to you.
no.
Do any of you have a merit like that?
Yep.
And no, I have concentration.
Well, it's probably a bit odd then.
Ocular
This cat
ability?
doesn't seem terrified. 1 second, I'll see if I can find it.
I know what you're trying to say. Basically, anyone who has friendship to animals or not offensive to animals,
Non-offensive to animals,
this
that's
cat
what it is.
walking
That's
around
it.
with us is kind of odd.
Yeah, you perhaps realise that the fact that this giant cat has gotten so close to you and has yet to make a noise, and yet seems to be like just studying you carefully, it's a little bit odd.
Shell's gonna put her hand out just a little bit, kind of offering it to the cat, maybe even letting the cat sniff it.
The cat does indeed sniff it, but doesn't seem to move any further towards Shell. Meanwhile, Kaylee just kind of taps it on the head and says, "Fizzy, don't be rude."
Rude. She's rather well behaved, though. And she'll take her hand back instead of going to pet it. Kind of off-put by the animal.
Do forgive her. She's frightfully mistrusting of strangers.
I don't blame her. I do know of animals who are much less trusting, if I had to say so. Ones who bark at the slightest presence of a stranger, bite. Often the ones casted aside and claimed again.
I'm afraid, unless you speak of stray dogs, I know not which of which you speak. Please, enlighten me. She leans
I don't-
forwards and settles her eyes on Chell and just waits for her to start speaking again.
I suppose I knew of one in childhood. We, my family adopted this cat that, as when I was a 9-year-old, I liked to call him Sir Pounce a lot because he seemed to bounce towards anything that moved, be it mice or human. And she either always retreated to the far realms of the house if she caught wind of a stranger, or in one case, she actually bit and held on to the finger of a noble. I do believe that was her downfall, unfortunately.
That has Kaylee laughing softly. Ah, nobles. I know I've known many, and yet few I have known who would be welcoming to a bite from a cat.
I believe he used a cane and hit it so hard that the poor thing ended. Sir Pouncelot did not pounce another bit after that day.
And yet he passed doing exactly what it was that he loved. Is that not something that we can all aspire to?
I think I'd rather not pass being hit by a cane while biting somebody's finger.
Yeah. Could be
And
fun.
yet it was
Prize
the
is
act
worth
of
it.
pouncing which made that happen. So you called him Sir Pouncelot for he loved to pounce upon things, and when he did, he passed. Therefore, he died doing what he loved.
That sounds like a great story.
But alas, my poor brother was more hit by it than me. He was saddened for days after that, in fact. I don't even know if he's gone over it still.
And how long has it been since this has occurred?
She'll count on her fingers. This is more her going off her own mental time. 7, 8? No. 10 years. I
10
believe
years.
he was 12.
10 years is an awful long time, but I can understand. Childhood pets hit us the hardest. Fortunately, Fizzy and myself have been together for a long time. Alas, I will mourn his passing.
Hmm. Hey, Lucas. The matriarch. She has a pet, right?
Do what? Say that again?
The matriarch.
Yeah, I believe so.
She has a dog, I think, right?
Yeah,
Right.
big dog.
A nice old big lovable one. I forget his name.
How long has she had that dog?
I really couldn't tell you.
She hasn't told me. Does anybody remember where is it?
Well, we don't know, so.
Yeah, we don't know. Charles is gonna shrug. I don't remember its name at all.
Would you guys know in character?
Chell would,
No.
but I'm looking
Okay.
for it on the page and I can't fucking find
Called
it.
Mojo, and it's been like 30 years.
Well, I wouldn't say 30 years because that sounds fucking iffy. Oh yeah, the dog was named Mojo. As for yous, I don't bloody know.
Tell me of this matriarch. It's an unusual title for such a day and age. Are you perhaps part of a cult?
Book club.
No, nothing like that. If we were a part of the cult, I'd be leading it.
Lucas will look towards Tyler, but probably like off by a few feet.
Chell turns his
Shake his
head
head.
to look.
She looks somehow disappointed that it's not a cult. But as soon as Shell mentions that it's a book club, that perks her up rather a lot. Oh, a book club. I would like to join a book club. I haven't been in one for many, many years.
Well, if someone is up for recruitment, I mean, we're all right here. Nasty grin.
And tell me, what books are you currently reading?
I'm not part of the club, by the way.
Um,
I'm just a
the
friend acquaintance of this.
Um,
the newest. Well, we were on somewhat of a Dracula kick a while ago, but now we've moved on to the Lair of the White Worm.
I believe they had the Oprah book recently. Which was the latest one?
Oprah's too stringy.
No wonder she was complaining you weren't at the meeting.
Well,
Ah,
I can my beautiful self can only be in one place ever so often.
Lucas will nod in agreement.
You vain bastards. Mio Dio.
well, I cannot speak for the Oprah Book Club, but I do know that the other two tales are rather engrossing, especially Dracula. For what is the tale of a man devolving into his own pleasures than introspective, if you may?
Aye, Vlad the Impaler. Being kidnapped from his town at youth, trained as a soldier. Got so good that he earned his reputation by stabbing people onto rather long stakes in the ground, if I remember.
Ah, there's actually a point of contention. And some historians simply believe that that was a deterrent. If Vladimir proved himself as much of a crazy bastard that he is a crazy master in his tacticians in his own countryside, the idea was that the opposing forces would simply not try it.
A solid tactic for many years, no doubt.
The Appalachian Mountains are inhospitable place sometimes to foreigners.
Indeed, I visited once upon my travels. It was very beautiful.
You 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 went to the land beyond the forest?
I looked upon the mountain range, to be honest, and yet there was such a serene beauty around me. Where was it? Romania? Hungary?
Sounds about right. What else have you heard from there, actually? Because, well, I always get confused with reports when I talk to people from there. They always say it's one place of cultural relevance, one of mistaken poverty, one of being thrown into wars, and yet another one says that it's harkens back to a much older age where magic and superstition still reign supreme, and the lords and vassals were still very much in the pocket of something else.
Do not all countries have such a place? Is there no Bible Belt within these very United States where religion and higher powers such as large corporations hold their sway?
So, are you creating a parallel between the CEO of modern days as to the wizard kings of bygone eras?
Do they not wield the same power? Would our modern technology not marvel those of past?
Sufficient technology without that explanation certainly does look a lot like magic. I do believe there's an idiom that that is just not coming into my head right now.
And yet I am of the opinion, as I told you last time, I am not a fan of the sciences. It's far too rigid and cannot explain things like true magic. Have you not seen conjurers upon stage do miraculous things with hats? She smirks.
I hear something of a charlatan tongue within your teeth.
La magia
whatever
was
gave me away.
sovrana. Chell just spoke
What
a
was that,
different
Chell?
language. Chell just spoke a different language for that response. She spoke Italian. A very butchered
Kaylee
Italian, but she'd be fluent.
smiled and answered her in Italian.
Chell's actually gonna blink at that.
Surely you do not think that in all of my travels I have not learned a thing or two about languages.
Oh, then.
Italian is perhaps the base of many modern languages.
It is a shame it's only chained in one place, I assume.
No,
Well,
Italian has some wide-reaching affairs. I mean, the Italians did some work in the early, and he starts mimicking a camera. The early video screenplays. I mean, the Italian spaghetti western is certainly a popular genre back in the time. And they did some work with horror and comedy. I'd say Italian is very influential.
Well, I would say that because officially only one country speaks Italian as its main tongue.
But and yet etymologically, you may look at any of the Romance languages, as they say, Spanish, French, they all share the same common root. Do they not?
Aye, Latin.
And it all
Italian
comes
would
back
be the
to the
closest.
church.
Ah, yes, the church. She says almost as though she, well, it's not almost, she clearly disfavours the church.
Church is a bunch of pompous bastards. Even in these
Look at
days. The only difference is they can't send out troops to stomp out their opposition. Although I guess they don't need to, because I guess they have the Army of America now to do that for them.
Indeed, and all of your senators preaching for a holy war.
There are no holy wars. There are no holy wars. Simply wars of convenience, wars of resources, and wars of glory. There are no holy wars.
Any war in the name of God is a war of hypocrisy.
It depends on which god you're talking to. I heard Ares is all about that kind of stuff.
So is Athena, but I suppose they found it fun to declare war over a simple woman. Almost like a game of chess.
You speak so vitriolically of this Christian god. May I ask what has coloured you so? That does sound like an interesting story to hear.
Wait, which story are you talking about?
She's talking to Shell.
No, I'm saying in character. Wait, which war are we talking about again?
Mythological war.
How Miss Moan spoke so, well, I don't want to say blasphemously, and yet she expressed considerable distaste for the church and its preachings. I would like to know why. I'm interested.
My father took his faith a bit too seriously, and now that I have the time and distance to reflect back on it, I find him a hypocrite for doing so.
A frightfully shorter story than I was intending to hear, and yet it's so impactful. Thank you.
But the war I was speaking of was the one of, I believe, of the Spartans, Troy. God, it's been such a long time since I've read that, to be honest.
Oh, the Helena Wars.
Homer's epics.
There was a joke over that once.
Not as mythological as people might find nowadays.
Well, mythological or not, there was a joke of it one time. When the three goddesses were asking the man to choose which one was more beautiful, it was said that he could have avoided all that war if he had chosen Persephone. Of the three of them, they would have either reeled back in shock and fear over the wrath of a god whose name was banned in public, for she was more feared than god of Hades, and then Hades. Or they might have
No,
smited him and gotten favor in her court.
What do you talk about? Hades is a nice guy. Once you get to know him well enough, he's just a
His wife
god
was
of.
not. He was relatively relaxed in all the legends, to be honest. Unlike his brothers, he didn't. Surprisingly enough, he didn't do as many. Other than the Persephone thing, he didn't do as much as Zeus,
Lucas will laugh at that.
who cannot keep it in his pantaloons.
That brought a rather hearty laugh from Kaylee.
But
Hades
do you
knew,
have?
Hades knew exactly what he wanted. He wanted land, he wanted love, and he wanted the love of a good woman. Admittedly, he had to steal the woman, but he had the land, which is all the eternity underground. He had the wealth because, be honest, what are we mining in the ground for? What have we always mined in the ground for? It was first iron, then gold, or more recently oil. It's all in the ground. Thanatos is a wealth of. Thanatos is just the wealth. Yes, there's also the souls, the understanding and the knowledge that comes with that. Hades is a man and to be feared and respected, and also envied.
I would also say that his wife actually did at least the death part of his thing. She ran his court, and probably there was a reason why the Greeks banned anyone saying her name in public. Do you remember the story of the flutist? The one that went to hell, went to Hades to get his wife back.
I remember that story. Go
She
ahead,
was
good
the
sir.
one that made
It
the
is
deal.
always good in retelling.
She was the one who struck the deal because she knew that he would look back. A man cannot simply resist for that much. And she also knew that she could also get the best flutist in the world in their court, should he fail.
It
Are
was
you
a
perhaps
chance.
suggesting that curiosities, and she motions her hands around the shop, bring the most interesting people?
Knowing what one wants and needs certainly does help.
And knowing when to bargain for it is a good thing too. Even if it's a last minute bargain.
And knowing what to bargain is often the most crucial part.
He chose the wrong thing to bargain with.
In the words of a friend that I had not too recently just met, that an attempt was made.
Lucas will laugh at that.
Would you mean Amelia?
Possibly.
She's harder a bit to trigger happy, but she knows where it's at.
Kaylee seems to just be watching each of you in turn as you speak. She seems rather engrossed in hearing about whatever it is you seem to be talking about in that particular moment. Finally, as you come to a close on the conversation, she settles her eyes upon Lucas. Lucas, you have been very quiet in my shop. Something weighs upon your mind, perhaps?
A few things that I'm having to deal with at the moment, but
Lucas,
not
if
much
I may.
personal.
Lucas, if I may. Please speak up. Do not let me continue to play Mercutio to your, what's that guy named Romeo. I die at the end of Act 2.
Oh, but then in the end I die as well.
What I'm saying
Well,
is, we're
fine.
trying to avoid the fates.
But in the end, does not all things die?
That is true.
Right, that's the theory. That's the reigning theory, anyways.
Yeah.
Indeed, but even the undying can still die. In a manner of speaking.
In strange eons, even death may die. But seriously, stop getting us off topic, Lucas.
And he'll put his hands up. What? I've done nothing.
Exactly. Your inactivity, inactivity and inflexibility and general body. I was going somewhere with this. I swear to God, I was going somewhere with this.
Basically, to any sånt.
Say
Yes,
again.
recent.
Oh.
Very little French I know. Out of character, Chell does not have a merit, so if you speak any French, he's not going to understand it.
Come, Lucas, tell us something of yourself, something of your past, or a story that you may have heard once upon a time.
Uh, and he'll begin to ponder for a moment. To be honest with you, there's not much to tell about my past. Not much that I found intriguing, just a simple lad wanting to, who took an interest in the arts. I grew up drawing, painting, always found intrigue in it, always able to let his creativity flow.
I never had the patience for painting, to be honest. My brother had the patience of a saint. I would put 1 or 2 strokes on the page, accidentally smear it, and then throw the brush in frustration.
But is not the faltering art the most beautiful at times? I myself was never patient for growing up. I didn't want to do it. I still don't want to do it. It just seems like such a ghastly affair, really.
Some people spend their lifetimes as children wanting to grow up with the privileges, and once they have it, wanting to go back to not have said privileges.
Believe me, I know
Yes.
all too well that.
Like I will.
Now come, Lucas. You say that there is not much to tell, and yet you have already said something, which means there is obviously more to tell, for each person has their own glorious story. That you may not have much to tell perhaps only says that you are in the prologue of your own Homerian epic.
You do understand that in the prologue of the Homerian epic, like Homer almost runs over his child with his farming equipment.
Indeed I am. For I've read it, heard it many times, even seen it performed once. I merely meant to suggest that perhaps, as there is not much to say, he has yet to found his true calling, such as Achilles, or Odysseus, or even Ajax.
Well, hopefully he doesn't roll his ankle before that.
Lucas will give a laugh at this.
Might end up with Achilles' heel down there.
And he'll lift up his leg, kind of flick it a couple times. Nah, I think I'm good.
You sure we could go get an arrow and test it? If you die on the spot, you've developed the Achilles heels.
And you can tell by his face, he's like giving you a glare. A slight glare.
Kaylee speaks almost idly as she looks upwards. I think I have a bow and arrow somewhere. And she starts slowly looking around the store.
I used to have some skill in archery, but I took much more to the sword and fencing when I got the chance.
Archery is such a lost art. Few practice it nowadays. Fewer even than most fencers.
It is indeed. Certainly, if you can shoot straight and true, a man could hit another in the heart. You know, much like Cupid, or imitate Cupid, at least for an evening. Although it does not end well for anyone else besides Cupid.
Mhm.
She laughs softly and slowly moves around the counter, gesturing out to her sides. But I've kept you far too long without you being able to browse. Is there anything in particular that I can interest you in? Especially you, Mr. Simon, for I've not seen you browsing my store yet.
She kind of blinked and looked about. I'm not sure what I'd be looking for, to be honest.
We
How
have
about a new
most-
eye?
I got surgery for that.
Oh,
And now I can see perfectly out both of them. I might take up archery again.
Kaylee looks at between the two of you rather oddly.
When he first met me, I wore an eye patch. I'd lost my eye in a fight, and it was just recently that I found it could be recovered with surgery. So I took my chance, and she's actually
So-
going to trace along the scar that's still over where her eye was. Now that the eye
So-
patch is off of it, the scar is more visible.
so what you are saying, good milady, is that your eye was damaged, not destroyed or lost, but that luckily there is a surgeon here in America who could readjust some of the fixtures. That is what you meant to say.
I didn't mean to say that. It was a cut over the membrane of the eye, something along that sort. Basically, it was just the surface of the eye that was fucking up my vision.
Hey, Shell.
Excuse my language.
Time to roll manipulation subterfuge.
No, actually, she didn't look. No, here's the thing. I just fucked up when I was saying, like, she still had her eye.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you off this time, but I'm watching you.
Yeah. I know. That was, like, me trying. That was me miswording it.
Doop, doop, doop.
Yep, that was me derping. But she kind of just traces along. Why? But she traces along the scar tissue. That's kind of like. Actually, now that you can see her, I guess you can't see it because you both are fucking blind at the moment. But she can see. Kaylee can see her tracing along the scar that splits apart the eyebrow. Actually, like no hair grows where the scar goes over the eyebrow. And she'll trace it along, close her eyes, her finger traces over her eye, and then down her cheek, all the way down to the jaw.
When Shell finally opens her eyes, she finds herself rather face to face with Kaylee, who's staring rather intently at that line that she just traced. That must be an incredible story. You must return at some point and tell me of it.
She almost
And then
jumped a bit.
Smiles and steps back.
Perhaps I will. For now, she started looking around for that bow and arrow that you're speaking of.
There's a lot of stuff in the shop.
Oh, Jesus. She's looking for a sword or bow and arrow. Do you want me to roll something?
Let's
If she finds
say
things?
deception alertness.
Well, she's still not going to see anything, even with her eye back.
Well, she does that. Lucas will speak up and say, so, last time I was here, you said you were expecting some magical items? Quite intrigued by that.
Ah, yes. The start of my occult library and collection of items. It has yet to arrive, but I am promised that it will arrive presently. Are you perhaps interested in such occult items as I am?
Guys, I saw
Probably.
something. Da-na-na-na. She found a sword.
If that's what Chell was looking for, she finds a small wooden stand upon a mantelpiece, if you guys know what that is. A fire surround that doesn't. It's detached from the wall and just kind of leant back against it, as though it's been pulled out of an old house and placed here. The small wooden stand holds a maybe 18-inch long silver blade that's triangular and tapers to a very sharp point with a single hand-sized grip. It's entirely silver and is almost as light as a feather.
That's a terrible sword, and you know that's a terrible sword.
She's gonna pick
Sword?
it up regardless.
Ah! And she moves across to Chell, moving to pick the small blade up. This is a very special item. I'm told it was the blade of an angel fallen to earth amongst the dark times, perhaps the Dark Ages even. But alas, what are stories amongst us, in the modern era? An angel sword within my own very shop.
But that would mean this blade be ancient, and with no wear and tear, I don't believe they even got to use it. She's more or less just like, kind of weighing it in her hands jokingly.
Ah, but if it truly were the blade of an angel, would they not maintain it to the highest standard? Or even what armor can protect against the hand of God?
And yet now it is here, on a simple mount upon the wall, only to be observed and never used again.
Except to be displayed in its pristine beauty, perhaps.
Getting quite curious though, the sword. Lucas is kind of took off his.
It's like, don't, whatever you do, don't look, Meredith. Just don't look.
He's gonna take a. He's gonna take a
I
picture.
hate to say it, but I almost want them to do a fate roll to see if they haven't bumped into anything.
Oh, they've bumped into loads of stuff. The shop's practically
We've been
full of it.
standing still most of the time. At least I
And
have.
Bob. Jill holds it out for Lucas, maybe even trying to get it so he could look under the glasses at it.
It's a very beautiful sword.
Mine. I'm kidding. No. Not sure I have the money to waste on frivolous things on this. Not like this. I may work for Crimson, but that pays for basic things.
And yet money is not the only thing that one can trade.
And Jill crooked her brow. I don't have any goods to barter, my fair lady. The last piece of history that I ever gave away was my ancestors' armor, which is now proudly displayed in the museum over yonder.
That definitely perks her interest. A museum of history, you say?
Aye. The armor that I gave is basically part of a set there now. My ancestor used to be part of some sort of heroic party that has its own year-round display there.
I shall most definitely have to visit such a display.
Please do. More people need to read the description that I so crudely put together. I'm not the best writer, but I had better understanding of that armor than my friend Sally did.
Well, I will say that if you do wish to own this Sword of the Angels, as it were, when you do find something suitably interesting, I ask that you come here and share its story with me, and perhaps we may strike up some deal.
Perhaps take pictures of the museum exhibits and bring them here for you to view.
But am I not already visiting the museum?
True. She rubbed her chin. What kind of story could I tell you? They're the ones of Leonardo da Vinci's recently deciphered journals I've been reading upon.
Ah, that intrigues me greatly. As I said, return with an item with a story, and I will listen to you.
What if I get the North Shore shirt?
Item in a story. I believe I could scrounge something up. I believe you have yourself a deal, milady.
Splendid. My store is open every day of the week, from midday until midnight. I do hope to see you. I am expecting another of your company to return and fulfill part of a bargain they made with me.
Lucas will kind of chuckle, remembering what the day Eve gave you.
Which one would that be?
Everly of the Sweet
Lucas.
Tooth.
He'll laugh at that too.
You mean Chipmunk? She's gonna pull out her phone and she's gonna show off the picture of the first time she was caught in the cookie jar.
Indeed. Fizzy has been watching her carefully whenever she was in this store. And I believe I will have another story for her helping herself, perhaps, to my confectionery.
Oh. Well, that's embarrassing. I have that picture too. A rather generous boyfriend of his sent it to me. It's kind of funny to have them side by side.
This crimson figure, he did very much intrigue me.
Aye, good luck getting a story out of him.
He glances up once more as though in deep thought. Most people who have come into this shop have very much interested me. Oh well.
I would still say good luck getting a story out of him. I've been working for him for a few months and I still haven't gotten a thing out of him.
I have my ways. And she gives a knowing and almost predatory smile.
She'll kind of kirk her brow at that, but shake her head. Alright, so Angel Sword for an item of sentimental value and a story?
It does not have to be sentimental, merely interesting. For I am not trading a sentimental item. This is merely an object within my store. I do not believe I even have any truly sentimental items. Stories are so fleeting and connections can be lost after years of no contact. She looks almost saddened by that sentence.
I do believe I have an object in mind that I could bring. Perhaps I'll reveal it on the next visit, though.
Of course, I very much look forward to it. Will you be coming alone, or shall there be your brethren with you? I do like having visitors.
Perhaps I shall drag in Everly and Crimson along with me. Perhaps they shall drag me along with them.
That will mean I will be able to collect 2 debts at once.
Is Everly aware of this debt, or are you just saying that because of...
He is most aware. It was part of the transaction, offered as cash was exchanged even.
And Lucas will say, yeah, it's legit.
And she smiles, very pleased with herself. You see?
Poor little Everly.
She is not as little as you think.
Comparatively speaking, I still think of her as a little sister.
and yet she weighs the burdens of perhaps eternity upon her shoulders. You can see it in how she walks.
I do suppose that sort of stress has been coming her way. She's been being comforted by Crimson for quite a long time now, but I digress.
Ah, yes, and that is a story for her to tell as well.
And she is willing to tell it. For now, I do believe we should head off our ways. I do believe I have a shift at the hearth pretty soon.
Of course, do not allow me to keep you. It was very interesting to meet you, Mr. Simon. And Tyler, thank you very much for your collection of stories. I shall most certainly view them all.
Until another time. What if I can get the Nos sword transferred? Yeah, that's a wild. No, that wouldn't work.
The what?
Just this little trinket into the father parental little figure picked up on his travels. He said something about it, but I always thought it was hogwash.
Most tales that some dismiss as fairy stories are in fact quite real.
He always told me that it was the story of a Monday Conan. I'm still not thinking, and that still doesn't make any sense to me.
As with all things, sense may come with time. But yes,
Fair enough.
I do hope very much to see you both again. And you, Mr. Lucas, do mind the step on the way out this time.
He'll laugh. I will make sure that.
I'm assuming you've had some history with that step.
Oh yeah. Me and that step go a couple days back. He'll say joking.
It's a nice and loving relationship. Tyler pats the hair around people, not realizing that they're nowhere near close to him right now. Damn it.
And Chell will probably reach out and grab him.
It's like, cute.
Well, at least it's not the worst thing to fall on, but perhaps I'll save that story for another time. Alright. So, I'll be on my way out, gentlemen. Shall you follow?
It's like, yes, very much. I think we would have no choice but to follow.
I bid all three of you a good eve.
And I bid it back, my lady. And she's gonna start leading them towards the door. Probably being extra mindful of warning Lucas in advance about the fucking step.
And Lucas will say, until next time.
Fate roll. Okay.
Fate roll, okay.
Storyteller, do you want him to make the roll?
No, she's actually, if you remember back at the start, she's moved the engineering setup of it now, so it's just a bell on above the door.
Oh. Sad face.
You're taking fun out of everything.
I'm a changeling.
Damn it.
It's like,
She's changeling! Run! I'm kidding.
Shield your eyes!
Alright.
The three of you are followed to the door by a rather large, bushy-haired ginger cat.
it's like, Just wait until I'm out the door, and then take out the sunglasses.
And she's gonna give them both a look.
I just say.
Might I ask why you had to wear those?
Movement. He gives the moves that keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Do you need a ride?
The cat goes and sits in the window and watches you.
Keep going.
She's gonna open the back of the van. You can put your bike back there. We have a long way back to town.
Into the van.
Chell's already in the van. Chell's just like, calm down, put the bike in the back of the van.
Puts the bike in the back of the van. drive.
And so she'll just kind of get in the gear, reverse, do the U-turn, and then just start driving off, looking behind her at the two of them, giving them both a look.
Just hold on a second. Just get a
Okay,
little
do you
further
still see
away.
the cat?
I don't think so.
As soon as you
Okay.
turn the corner, the cat's out of sight.
Okay, we're in the clear.
What bloody hell,
First
you two...
off, what are you doing with two eyes?
Yeah, what's up with that?
I was about to strangle you back there.
I really did get my eye fixed, but it was... I guess if you must know. Do you know of Clansmeetzi?
So you found somebody to...
I found someone who could alter the eye. There's a little Miss Adrian in the city. Lucas, you've met her. I'm sure you've
And
heard.
so sit there for a second. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, we made an offer. Yeah, I made a trade with her, and that's between me and her, but essentially I got my eye back. Which I've so
Fantastic.
dearly needed these last few nights. But yes, it was repaired. It was my faulty wording that it made it sound like my eye was gouged out by like a bear. But no.
But anyways, so
So
the reason why we're
you're
getting out of
wondering about
sight.
the sunglasses, right?
Hmm?
You're still wondering about sunglasses, right?
I had to lead you bloody bastards through that shop. And
Well, let's just say us
She's too
toyders
beautiful.
have a flaw.
It's like, no, that is not right. She has a bewitching power on a certain canine, a certain kindred, that if you mess up, she will entrance you and this take your soul away.
I'm going to assume that she's too beautiful for most eyes, and I understand the blindfolds now.
Yes, but you have to hide them with the sunglasses, otherwise it looks like you're a jackass.
You two looked like jackasses, to be honest.
Hey,
Couldn't you have at least
we're
gone?
alive, aren't we?
Well,
Or-
you could have at least gone with like crimson level. At least they look casual. Those were like, I don't know, they were literally basically blindfolds.
And Lucas will
Eh,
jokingly put it back on. You kidding me? This make it look great.
Better
Yeah,
safe
that's
than
weird.
sorry. Besides, I was never truly blind back there. Well, yes, I was, but
Well, you're questioning the fact I didn't have my other eye.
Oh.
The one-eyed lady.
I will, right, okay. So, just so you know, that person back there is weird.
Lucas will nod.
No!
Oh.
How weird? I'm not quite sure.
So,
But I'm on her good side, so I count that as a win for me.
Yep.
asking for that kiss. How did you not know that would bewitch you of all things?
Like, simple formality, a gesture. It's a simple gesture meaning nothing. Nothing and nothing more. I told you I meant nothing.
And she's gonna roll her eyes at this and turn her attention back to the road. Anyways, I suppose it is my job as hound to keep an eye on this one, isn't it?
Well, you have an extra one, I guess.
Here. Oh, okay, I believe I have to keep eyes on her. She did seem bewitching in looks. Turn anyone of any orientation. For your information, I'm already a rainbow.
Okay. I'm pretty sure she's not a troll or a dwarf, so those are pluses. What exactly? I do not know.
Well,
I thought you
human looks,
mentioned
I'll have
possibly
to
an
say.
elf.
Elf? That sounds like rubbish.
She is an elf.
There's a such thing. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. There are werewolves, there's elves, there's sentient boxes.
Yes.
Don't ask
she
me
is.
about the sentient box.
There's this idiot. Okay, I'm gonna assume that's kind of the Misi flesh crafting bullshit because I can't handle that kind of shit right now.
Well, for one thing, it's dead 500 years ago. Second thing,
Wait, are you telling me you fought a mime? And honest to God, Labyrinth and Labyrinth's mine.
she shrugs. I honestly don't know what it was. That was back when I was a hunter and when I was still fresh at it. I didn't exactly know. I just wanted to get the fuck out of there because I just fall into a fucking sewer. And then there are two of my other comrades being sentimental about that box and its purpose, and in the end they just still destroyed it.
So we're all in agreement. I want to eat it.
I don't think you could not. It wasn't not a flesh. It was rather metal.
I'm talking about the weird thing. The weirdling.
Don't eat the weird thing. Who knows where it's been?
I want to eat it. Well, okay. I don't want to eat it. I want to taste it.
Considering the looks of that thing, I'm afraid of the effects if you even licked her, to be honest. Even
Come on,
just
it'll be
barely
fun.
putting a fang would probably do something weird.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm totally expecting something weird to happen. There are stories of people of the Malkavian. The Malkavian. You know the Malkavians are caused by a vampire eating a fairy, right?
I don't suppose I've ever heard that story.
It's
Neither have I.
totally the fucking truth. Honest to God, honest to God truth. With a vampire ate an elf and then turned into a Malkavian.
So you want to be Malkavian?
Too many sparkles in their diet. Well, I suppose you would be answering to Dr. Morgan from that point on. Wouldn't have to answer to... Ooh, I heard you voted a Primogen. Who was it?
Lucas will little. Remember the redhead, big chest, was mouthing off to you?
You voted that little shit.
I was like, he'll put up his hands. I didn't vote. I voted for the other redhead.
No wonder she was pissed. She came in a rage. She wouldn't even tell me what was wrong. Oh no, this means I have to see her. Fuck.
And Lucas will tap his shoulder. Have fun.
I suppose you haven't... Yeah, I suppose you avoided something rather fun. There was a little party at a mansion. And I got to sit on it because they thought I stuck out like a sore thumb, and let's be honest, I did. So I got to sit in the van, waiting for them, and then they bring me 3 gifts. They brought me a clanless vampire that I've been trying to look for. They bring me a random Malkav, who, as his reputation is heard, he's almost as ungodly calm as his other figure we just met. And then they brought us a human, who Robin popped. Besides that, when I told them to put the people in the van, I was mouthed off by your new Primogen. Don't exactly
What?
remember why.
Well, bring it up with the Primogen. I heard that she is very capable of dealing with problems that our clan has created. Even the ones that she created herself.
She's, you're one of the ones who voted for her, aren't you? Good
I'm
job
enjoying the
on
show.
voting the new fucking vampire to the thing. I hope you are ready to keep her ass out of trouble.
Oh, hell no. She's gonna have her own ass fried.
I hope for her sake she learns before someone decides she's a good meal, like Baker. Oh god, if she mouthed off Baker.
Would throw some heat off of me for a bit.
I actually did hear that he had quite the uprising at your arrival.
Lucas will arch a brow.
Saying that the baggers are a bunch of pyromaniacs.
Hey. Just because one great-grandson decided to eat a whole bunch of her harpies does not make us all murderous bastards.
Lucas will jokingly scooch away from the first.
Well, poor Mitch. I guess don't eat our harpy, we only have one. And finding another one's gonna be a pain in the ass. Unfortunately, I've been told he's the best bean counter in town. The other one being
counter?
from the Molotovs. I suppose you would get along with that one, but alas.
Maybe. Depends. Alright, did the
I think we're at the end of the scene.
I don't know what story Baker has heard. Probably a hilarious one.
Good luck on finding that out. I don't know it either. Getting anything out of Baker's a pain in the ass.
There's a slight knowing grin, as if he knows maybe one or two of the stories that have gotten out, but he's just not saying them right now.
Speaking of which, getting anything out of Baker is apparently impossible. Even Boone's. I believe Mitch was complaining of how he dealt with Boone's recently. Put him under his office instead of his name.
Classic.
Anyways.
Well, if you put it under your office, that means that it is protected in case of your destruction.
Well, that also means whoever takes up that role next has to pay the debt of the forefather.
Yeah, very possibly. It's for the good of clan relations, and therefore it is okay to go into debt.
Let's be honest, if there's ever a bastard that got a boon from that's liable to get themselves destroyed, you made a bad wager.
Fair enough. Ugh. But honestly, I want to eat that thing. Or at least taste it. I'm being serious about this.
I'll call Dr. Morgan in advance then. Tell him that he's expecting a new one. A transfer from the Roses. This one's especially crazy.
Lucas will chime in like, I'm kind of intrigued. How do you plan on doing this?
How do I plan on doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's rather simple. You're gonna tell a story, and then I'm gonna walk up behind her, grab her midways, then jump in.
And then it's a masquerade breach, and then I have to kill you, and maybe possibly her before she calls the authorities, and then it's a big mess, and then I'm just gonna have to call your poor sire and explain why you've been so dreadfully murdered.
You see, that's why I said it beforehand, so you could point out the flaws in my plan. Now I have to rework it.
At least I know who to go to when she ends up being bitten. Maybe you could disguise yourself as a mosquito. Maybe the Gangles will teach you how to do that.
It can't be that hard. Can it?
Yes. Turning into a different animal should be that easy.
Fair enough, I think. Anyways. So what's the plan?
Come back, maybe. Has anybody checked her aura?
Oh, she's a sparkly, sparkly elf. I told you, she's a sparkly, sparkly elf. Why does no one believe me?
We lost Lucas. The elf got her! The elf got him!
I was going to wrap up soon anyway.
Yeah, I was trying to. Every now and then I was like, that's a good story to end it. Nope. That's a good story. Nope.
Oh, was that going on for too long?
But, well, it was like I was getting caught up in it too. But I
It's
believe
fine,
that's
so you guys
probably a
go
good
for
thing. Yeah. This is probably a good time to call it up before we give Amelia even more ammo.
Also, it's like 8 in the morning.
That too.
Fair
Alright.
enough.
Final thoughts?
I want to eat that thing.
Besides that,
No, I'm pretty good.
Same.
final thoughts, Lucas? These guys want to eat that thing.
Fuck that. I don't know what happened. That'd be like insta-drugs. I'd rather take war than peace.
Well, you can have fun with that.
And that brings a close to another episode of Vampire the Masquerade Independence. Thank you, players, for playing, and good night.